Hi everyone, welcome to level 1 of NLG online class. Today's day 1 of level 1 and I can see that there's about around 200 people. Okay, so I think you can hear me nice and clear, so that's great. So welcome to your first level 1 class. If you're a beginner and you're new to NLG, so welcome in. And if you're here to revise the class content, that's wonderful as well. But for those of you who are here to revise, just note that if you are still in level 1, then throughout this class, you can certainly receive the energy activation of level 1. But if you're, for example, if you're in level 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're just here to revise these content and then make sure that throughout the energy activation, do not receive them, because the activation throughout this class will be for level 1 participants. Okay. And we do have our registration link posted on Telegram, on our Facebook and YouTube. And so make sure that you register before you come into class. If you haven't have the chance to do that, then I highly recommend that you go back after this class to register, so that we know of exactly how many people were here for the first time interested in our program, and so therefore we can certainly tailor to well, I guess expand NLG a lot more as we go, and that would be of great help if you can register and let us know. Don't forget to like and follow our Facebook, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel, because you will get to see and get updated with the latest post, classes, announcement, etc. And just before we start, if you're new here, then my name is Isabella, and I will be your level 1 and 2 English instructor for NLG classes, along with my colleagues here. And sometimes you will be taking classes with different people. It would be either me or another colleague of mine, Ms. Kristen Chen. So just a little bit about myself, is that I started with NLG since the end of 2021, and I was just like a participant like many of you. And I started, of course, from level 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and now I am a level 5 participant. And I'm very privileged to have the opportunity to participate in that. And throughout the course of doing NLG, I was then trained to be an instructor. I started as a volunteer because I just want to help out and maybe do something to give back after experiencing a lot of great improvements and benefits for myself as well as for my family. And so that's why I want to do something to give back. So I volunteer for NLG. And although until now, I've become an instructor. And so throughout these classes, I'll be sharing with you, of course, the theory, the foundation of NLG, so that you understand. Oops, sorry. So that you understand about the how energy operates, and the techniques of it, and how to get the most out of this method. And then, of course, we will have the formulas. So we will show you the formulas. So with energy as a method, we have very precise techniques of how you can practice it. So part of it is to do with the formula set. You do not need to sit for hours and hours to meditate. It is not the techniques of NLG, and NLG is a very separate method from other I guess techniques or method that you have participated in before. So just make sure that when you come into NLG that it is its own thing, and it's really necessary for us to just give it our best and put in the effort to understand what it is and not try to fit it in with what we've already learned, as it is its own thing and it has very different techniques, and it's really important to adhere to those techniques so that you can get the best experience out of this technique. All right. So coming into NLG, it is a practice-based method. So it means that it requires you to practice on a daily basis in order to experience the improvements or transformation that you're looking for. And NLG can be applied to many different fields. So for example, a lot of participants coming in, the first thing that they experience is health improvements. And then, of course, they can then learn these techniques as they go throughout the different class level and apply it to different things in their lives. So, for example, agriculture or, things like that. And currently, NLG has 5 class levels from level 1 to level 5. And of course, you are required to complete the classes in sequence. You need to receive all of the required energy activation before you can move on to a high class level. With level 1 and 2, generally, and for the most part, it can be done online, very much like what we're doing now. So we just organize these classes for free, level 1 and 2 for people to come in and get that first experience of what it's like to practice and to know about these techniques. And then from level 3, 4, and 5, it really depends. A lot of the time we have level 3 online. So we just had one last week. And Mr. Lay was very generous to offer an online class for level 3, which is a lot more convenient for a lot of people around the world who can participate and not having to do that in person. And so that's very considerate. And then level 4 and 5 are generally taught in person. So you are required to arrive to the to a certain venue and take the classes there. But in April, we will have a level 4 online class. Excuse me. So we will have a level 4 online class in this April. And that's really special as well because that's the first online class for level 4. And then level 5, of course, you're required to do it in person. And NLG can be practiced by many different age groups. Generally, children as young as 8 to 12 years old can already participate, but of course with parental supervision. And it's very necessary that these young children have parental supervision while they learn and while they practice as well, so that they understand exactly what it is that they're doing and they're not frustrated, they're not bored, because when they, for example, if they practice incorrectly or if there's anything that they don't understand, and then they lose interest, and that will be very challenging for them to come back in the future. So it is very necessary that there's parental supervision. And I apologize, I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit. My voice a little bit sorry. It's just my voice, and I'm having a bit of a cough due to the weather and things like that. So just bear with me. Okay. And other than the 5 class level, there are 3 special programs for you to join if you're interested. So the first one is will be apply NLG to agriculture, forestry, and fishery. And this will certainly benefit a lot of people who work in that field, and it will give you a very different experience than what you've already know. And then secondly is assisting couples with infertility concerns, or even just, to have intelligent, healthy babies. And both of these programs require participant to complete level 3 or above in order for you to participate. And then the last program is the instructor training program, which is closely selected by Mr. Lay. And in order to participate in that program, you need to complete level 4 or above. Now, NLG is a practice-based method, as I've already said, and it is not an alternative treatment of any sort. So it shouldn't replace your current medical treatment, whatever it is that you're doing according to your doctor's recommendation. That's really your decision, and it's something that you should certainly consult with your doctor when it comes to your medical treatment and things like that. And NLG is certainly not an alternative treatment at all. And NLG is not political, it is not religious. So, really try to have an open mind when we discuss and present, different topics and different information to you, just so that we're not talking about it, we're not discussing about it from a political or religious point of view. And it really requires you to have an open mind when you approach certain topics, because due to the things that you know, due to your background, due to how it sounds initially, it may I guess trigger you, or it sort of triggers you to maybe think about it in a particular way. But just note that NLG is not political or religious. Okay. Now, just a little bit about our founder, Mr. Lay. His full name is Lê Văn Phúc, and he was born in Bien Hoa Province, which is now Dong Nai Province of Vietnam. At the age of 22, he joined his family and moved to the US. And he has his this great chance to learn from a very special master who taught him about NLG. And then he applied NLG to himself, obtained amazing results, and then he shared it with other people. So at the start of 2020, he went to Vietnam, and together with many NLG volunteers, they were able to organize many classes for people. And then in 2021, he returned to the US and continued to organize many, many classes online and offline. And although he's been teaching this method for a lot of people, he wishes that we only address him as Mr. Lay, or in Vietnamese, we often call him Uncle Phu instead of teacher or master, because he simply doesn't fancy those terms. He much prefer people to address him in a friendly way. All right. And I know that later on, many of you will be receiving energy transmission from Mr. Lay. So I will not be transmitting healing energy from you during this class, so that you don't have to, so that you won't miss out on Mr. Lay's healing transmission. And you can just wait until then to receive the transmission from him. Okay, so now let's go through these class recommendation. And I will only go through this once. So we'll be very quick. Okay, so class recommendation, please arrange to attend the course on time. to receive the activation fully. Being on time also show respect for the instructor and everyone in class. Also, it helps to avoid network congestion when too many people decide to join at the same time. Number 2, choose your study space. Please set up your study space in a quiet place away from distraction during the activation and practice session. Number 3, copyright NLG content without our permission is prohibited. Please do not record or distribute our video lecture online without our consent. All online courses will be recorded for tracking purposes on our NLG platform. Number 4, you can attend our course via phone, laptop, iPad, etc. Ensure you check your device before attending our online classes. Number 5, we will have time for participant to ask questions about the course, formulas, and practice recommendation. Now, usually we try to have that, but if we run out of time for some reason, then of course I'll give you the QR code to our Telegram groups, and of course you can ask your questions on there as well. So the original energy source, NLG, that's what it stands for in Vietnamese, năng lượng gốc, method is provided by the Energy Source University to support anyone seeking assistance from NLG. NLG online courses are completely free, so you will see with level 1 and 2, we do not charge for any amounts of fees at all. NLG techniques and information is for educational purposes only and cannot be substituted for the advice or care of a medical professional. It does not replace doctors' diagnosis and medical treatment. We recommend that participants consult a doctor before undertaking alternative health improving method. We will not accept any liability or warranty, will not be responsible to any individual if you do not see any improvements. NLG participants are responsible for their current state of health and will need to monitor their progress. NLG participant needs to have self-awareness and follow the instructions and formulas to achieve desired outcomes. Okay. And as I've already said, NLG is not a religion, neither it is a meeting ground for ritual activities. NLG does not advise participants to give up or join any religion or political party. NLG Energy University does not participate in any religion or political institution of any country. So with that in mind, let's get started with our class content. So we will get started. So we will get started by discussing the meaning of the 3 logos of NLG. So you can see here on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side, you have the Cosmic Divine Light logo. In the middle, you have the Energy University logo. And then on the right-hand side, we have the Loving Home logo. And in these particular sequence, these logos were introduced to us in this complete form on April 23rd of 2023. And on that day, Mr. Lee shared that he's able to unlock the 3rd code, which results in that perfect circle in the middle of the Cosmic Divine Light logo there. That represents cosmic light embraces all being. So looking back at the content or teaching material in the past, you would know that we started off with the with what we called bronze drum. So in Vietnamese we call it trống đồng. And what it is basically, and Mr. Lee will explain about this a little more in level 3, but initially the center of this logo here, there was 14 arrays, so it looks like a big sun. And so then Mr. Lay, when he had this vision to decode it, to unlock the energy within, then he performed a very simple math equation and turn it into a star. So because it's 14, so he get 1 plus 4, because the question was if he were to receive this energy, what is it that he's going to do with it? And he said that he would like to share it with the world. And so it is the 5 continents. So 1 plus 4 equals 5, and it turns into a star. And then afterwards, he was once again thinking about because with a star, and when it stands upright, it goes from one point and then it divided into 2 sides, so 2 parts, and that represent that division that we often have between what we consider as the good and the bad, the negative and the positive. And so then you have once again this guidance, which is the second stage of him unlocking this energy, is that he turned the star around. So basically, no matter which side you started from, you go back into this one path that works, that understand, that appreciate both parties. And that is energy. Energy acts as the mediator for everyone. And so after that, on the 23rd of April 2023, then he was able to unlock the whole thing, which you see that there's no star, there's nothing here in the middle now, and it's just light embraces well-being. So in level 3, and if you get to level 3, Mr. Lee will certainly talk about this a lot more in details, but because we're in this foundation level, we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to leave it at that. And of course, within this cosmic divine light, it contains a lot of great lessons and the energy source that we're interested in. And from there, it's sort of like taking the energy, the theory from here, and then enable it. So you have somewhere that you can turn it into practice, turn it into more tangible things, into projects here at the NLG University. And then from there, you're able to actively build, maintain, and support what we call the loving home. Now, the loving home represents a family with parents and children, and there's a very special bond between them. And there's very deep meaning in terms of energy that Mr. Lee was certainly talked about in high class level as well. But you see here that there's 13 heartbeats representing 12 months in a year. And the 13th heartbeat indicates humanity's energy connection to the outer space civilization. Now, some of you might ask, well, what is outer space civilization, that term that you just mentioned? And where does this energy source come from that you call the cosmic divine light? So at this foundation level, I will explain it in pretty simple terms to you so that it doesn't overwhelm you. So just think about the outer space civilization as a country, okay? Just visualize it in that way if it's easier for you to understand. So it is a country, or think about it as a country that is very advanced, that's very far away from us. And there are beings there who exist in, I guess, very advanced, sophisticated ways with lots of wisdom and high level technology, science, qualities, etc. And so everything about them is more advanced, and they're here to help us. So they have the resources, they have the wisdom to help us. So let's just think about it in that way. And this energy source has existed for a very long time, and it has been embedded in our lives for a very long time. But the But the point is to do with our level of energy connection, or the consequences of our energy disconnection. So let's imagine this energy sources having different levels, like in a school system. So you have the kindergarten level, you got the primary school level, high school level, university level, you get your PhD level, etc., etc. So whichever frequency that you're able to approach, then it depends a lot on whether you meet the core requirements of these techniques. And we'll be talking about the course elements later on. So coming into NLG, a lot of people think that it's just simple as experiencing health improvements, but actually, when you come into this method, we present you with these three challenges that we look to resolve for humanity. And so it's something that's a lot more important that we all need to adhere to, because it's very relevant to all of us. So when you look at these three challenges, including wars, conflicts, poverty, and hunger, diseases and illnesses, a lot of the time you might think, well, maybe I'm experiencing like one of them. But let's really take a look at this from a personal perspective. So illnesses and diseases, I understand that a lot of you coming into NLG, and with the hope that this energy can do something better for your health. And so I guess this particular challenge, it's very much relevant to a lot of you, and of course a lot of people around the world. And then secondly, when we talk about wars and conflicts, we've already know what's going on, with the world that we're living in right now. But then if we look at it from a more personal perspective, then we would know that it's also to do with conflicts within ourselves. It's the conflicts within our family. So it's a lot more personal. So it could be things like you say that you're happy, but really you're not happy. And a lot of the time what you're experiencing that you call happiness is solely just on the surface of things. And there's no real connection between you and other people. You may not find the meaning in that. And you're in a space where you're having to deal with, a lot of things inside your head, or, with a family member or with a co-worker. And then the third one, which is poverty and hunger. Now, we still see a lot of this around the world with a lot of people, living on the street, homeless people that we see every day. And then there's also people who, still can't afford to pay for their essential needs and to take good care of their family. And so there's that as well, which a lot of the time we don't really see. Even though we talk about these topics a lot, but we don't necessarily see those things, because they happens in the homes. And sometimes we know, sometimes we don't, but they certainly are still happening. And so how do we go about resolving these issues? Is that we need to have these elements. So these are the core elements of NLG here, everyone. So it is having morality and the 5 forms of love. So genuine moral values, this is something that we all know about, I suppose, but it's really important to keep this, to prioritize this. And we need to be, I guess, realistic about it, because we need to wonder Why is it that we know about morality, and yet we still do things to hurt each other, and we still do things that doesn't reflect this value, even though we know about that, and we assume that we understand it, and we're also perceive ourselves as someone who's very moral, someone who's very good. And yet, in the way that we say things, in the way that we do things to other people, sometimes it can be very inappropriate, very hurtful. And so that's something to really think about and to prioritize these great values when you do something and when you say something to other people. So it's about being more conscious of the things that you do and more considerate of the things that you say. And then the 5 forms of love. Why is it not just love in general? Because here at NLG, we actually divided this, well, we're sort of break it down into the 5 forms of love so that we can, take these baby steps and guide you to these specific forms of love, and we discuss it so that you have a better understanding about that. Because sometimes we talk about love and it seems to be quite abstract compared to other things, and people find it a little bit more difficult to understand. Now, before you come into energy, it doesn't matter what you've done, whether you have practiced love or not, or you think you've practiced it. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that now that you come into energy and we explain to you, we give you information about what it is. And so we hope that you will be able to adapt more loving behaviors according to the information that we present to you. And so at level 1, it's really important to keep in mind these core elements of NLG, love and morality, so that as you go into high class, you understand, as in high class level, so 2, 3, 4, 5, then you understand about these core elements, because these elements will follows you and follows your journey with NLG, even when you get to the highest level. As of now, for example, level 5, this still comes with you, and it requires you to practice them in a much higher level. So having high levels of tolerance, forgiveness, love, of understanding, empathy, and so it doesn't stop there, as you have it or you don't have it, but it certainly is something that you need to work on and continuously upgrading as you go. Now, the 5 forms of love. Let's break it down. So for level 1, at this beginner level, you are required to consider and work on the first 2 forms of love, which is self-love and love for family. So you can see here that the 5 forms of love breaks down into self-love, love for family, love for country, love for humankind, and love for all living things. So at level 1, we are going to work on the first 2 forms. Now, some people, when they look at this, and immediately they thought, why is self-love the first thing that we need to do? Or, even consider, shouldn't that be the last one? Because, isn't that selfish to, practice self-love as the first and foremost thing? But then realistically, if you don't love yourself, if you don't take good care of yourself, then how would you get out there and help other people? As in, it's a very nice vision of you being able to help people, but if you're not physically, mentally, emotionally, prepare, then of course that remains, the part about you helping other people just remains a vision that you hope to accomplish. it won't come true, and it won't last very long. And so the first thing is that you need to take good care of yourself. And some people, they do it, but they don't do it consistently. So it means that sometimes they would take good care of themselves, and then other time they forget about it because something happened or they're busy with other things, and then they just completely forget about taking good care of themselves. And that's where you become sick. That's where, you know, you won't be able to do the things that you want to do. And so that's why for energy participant, as you first started with this method, we recommend that you practice on your self-love and love of family. Now, balancing, your mind and your body as well as your emotion is very important, and we consider that self-love. And there's also that deeper meaning when it comes to, energy. And from an energy perspective, self-love means that you understand why is it that you're doing things that you do. So you understand why it's so beneficial to remain calm. You understand why it's so beneficial to show love to other people. And as you continue with this method of NLG, then I guess the more that you know about it, the more that you'll be willing to express self-love. So self-love means that regardless of what other people do, whether they upset me or whether there's something that I don't like, whether something happened unexpectedly and I did not prepare for that, but I will remain calm because I understand that when I remain calm, I get to position myself into what we call the +1 - 1 frequency, which we'll be talking about that later on, is a very beneficial state to be in because that's how you will connect to these energy source most effectively. Now, love of family is quite straightforward, okay? But a lot of the time, I guess because the people in our family are the one who are closest to us, so a lot of the time we do take them for granted, and we forget to express, how grateful we are to be with them. Now, some people, because of different conflicts, different reasons, that they ended up finding very limited meanings in being with their loved ones. And they don't feel happy when they're with their family. But I guess it started once again with that self-love, where you learn to improve yourself, be a better version of yourself, you're able to regulate yourself. So whatever it is that happened around you, starting with your family, that you will be able to inspire good things to come. You'll be able to attract that energy to surround you. So when people see you, particularly your family members, they will be motivated to change as well. And presenting this information as an instructor and also as a participant who have already experienced these things. So thanks to NLG, that's a lot of great things has happened to my family. And from that, as an individual, when I look at those differences, I'm more likely to, and I'm inspired to change as well. And certainly I still, have things I would love to improve still. But yes, I am learning about this. And so I'm speaking from my own experiences as well as an energy participant about, love for family. And of course, there's that force of attraction. And now that we're talking about energy, we're talking about energy, we're talking about energy application, we know that the one thing, whether you like it or not, is that when you do something good, then that attracts the energy of you having the opportunity to meet better people, having better opportunity. And it might not be immediately. Sometimes it is immediate and it's also to do with your energy credits, which as you get to a high class level, we will talk about that and how significant that is as a part of our lives. So it's really, really interesting. And well, I guess because the people in your families are the one who perhaps you understand and they're willing to understand you as well. And they're very forgiving, and you will learn to forgive them first and foremost, because they're the closest one to you. And so it's a very good start to work on yourself and your family. I understand that it can be a little bit challenging for some people due to different reasons, but it is necessary, and this would help to build a good foundation, a very strong foundation for you as you get into this method. Now, if you don't work on this, if you're not interested to improve these forms of love, then unfortunately, as you go into this method, you will find that you will get to face a lot of challenges if you don't meet these required if you don't meet these requirements. Now, the outer space civilization, as I've already explained, they will give you guidance on this journey of self-enhancement. They are precise, they are fair, and that's why Mr. Lay, oftentimes he would say that you cannot get away with doing bad things, and you cannot pretend, you cannot lie, because the thing is, we're working with this energy here. It's not to do with us instructor monitoring or supervising you. It's nothing to do with that. We're only here to present you with the information that you need to know, explaining how is it that you're able to get the most out of this method. And then the rest is really up to you. And there will be that energy attraction as well as that energy credits. And also, we will certainly talk about karmic consequences, but not from a religious point of view, from an energy point of view. And so that's why I say that when you come in, you do need to have an open mind, because we will touch on these types of topics, but from, I guess, from a new ways of looking at it. Maybe some of this that you've already come across, but you didn't think much about it, but we will certainly discuss it with you. And, from an energy perspective, that's very, very interesting. And that's also what's drawn me as a participant to come into this method and learn about it a lot more. Okay, so when it comes to the way that you express your love, I guess a lot of the time we let our emotions and other, stimuli in our environment, in our life to control us. But coming into energy, it's all about that self-development and self-control. So, for example, of course, you can't control whether it's a rainy day or it's a sunny day, but what you can control is your perspective. And your perspective, of course, comes from that understanding of self-love. Okay, why is it that I shouldn't be upset about this weather? Why is it that I should maintain calm? Because I will be connected and I will be in the state of this particular frequency that we're interested in to help us to connect with this energy source. And that is the +1 -1 frequency. So let's talk about that. Now, the +1 -1 frequency. Okay. The +1 -1 frequency, and you can, just have a look at some of the writing here, some of the material here on the screen, while I just further elaborate it for you. So as I've mentioned, the +1 -1 frequency is very essential when you come into the practice of energy. Now think about it as the favorite frequency for the cells in your body to work with. It is the mutual language. Okay, and now we're starting, I guess, to make more sense, to get more realistic in terms of how we can look at this theory. Is that the cells in our body, a lot of people thinking about energy as you come in, you get this energy, and then you improve, right? So this energy is something magical. But the thing is, it's really is to do with our connection with this energy source. And when we receive it, what it does is that this energy connects, it interacts, and it helps, it supports the cells in our body. And then as a result, the cells in our body help us to improve. And so it's like that. It's not necessarily this energy come in and then magically make things happen. And so you need to understand that point, because it's really important. And if you say, well, how about we just, do some other ways to connect to the cells in our body to make them, operate, to maximize their operation and how they function. But remember that the +1 -1 frequency is that mutual language that we need. A lot of the time we don't understand how to connect to these cells in our body, how to make them operate. And that is because we're not speaking their language. And their language, this +1 -1 frequency, and the +1 -1 frequency can be enabled by the way that we regulate ourselves, the way that we express our love and morality. And so that's why love and morality is the core of NLG. So if you're not in the +1 -1 frequency, you can sit there for hours and try to practice as much as you want, but you won't get the 100% of energy as expected, because your connection with this energy, it's far from the +1 -1 frequency. And so the +1 -1 frequency is a concept, right, that can be formed through the flows of thoughts, through our states of self-regulation. And it's something that you can do for yourself. So think about it as like a guideline. And once you know about that guidelines, you get to do it. You get to practice it. And the guideline doesn't change. So you cannot say, well, I come in here, now I know that I need to support the cells in my body and I need to connect to this energy. So I would do something else. I would try another way to try to connect to this energy, to be in a different frequency, but it doesn't work that way, because the cells in our body operates according to this frequency and only this frequency. And so they do need to change. So they do not need to change. The frequency doesn't change. And because this is how we operate, this is how we're designed, the design doesn't change. What needs to change is us. We need to change for the better. And remember that there's no loss when you change. You're only gaining. You're only gaining from this. And because it is love, because it is morality, because it is these values that we talked about in the way that we speak to other people, in the way that we treat other people. So you're only gaining here. You're not losing anything. Of course, a lot of the time you feel like you need to lose it because it's more convenient. It might be, quicker for you to do something. If you take the shortcut, if you take advantage of other people, you can get to where you want quicker. But is it quicker though? Is it more effective? Is it more loving that way? Or is it just for the short-term benefits and then later on you'll find that because of the way? So basically you get what you give. You receive what you give. You give negativity, that's what you will receive. And on top of that, you don't get to connect to this energy. So in other words, you don't speak the same language as the cells in your body. And so there's nothing to connect to support the cells in your body. And so that's why you come in and you still don't get to improve. And so that's something to really note when you come into the practice of NLG. Now, the good news is every one of us are very capable of changing for the better. Every one of us are capable of practicing these moral values as well as the 5 forms of love that we've talked about. And the reason why we can get to this frequency through love is because the state of love that's equivalent to harmony, to composure, to peace, all of these really harmonious frequency. And if you don't have love, then even if you receive the energy activation, the outcome for you, in this method would be quite limited. So we are very forward. We do not polish our words. We just say it however, however it is. And we just want to make sure that you know exactly how this method operates and whether you are ready for it. Now, it is not to say that we can't be upset or happy or excited. It is not to say that we need to suppress all of our emotions, because of course, emotion it's part of us, and we experience our lives a lot through the ways that we view things and the way that we feel about things. But it just means that now that that you learn energy, that you understand about the +1 -1 frequency, that you're able to regulate yourself, to be in the right frequency to connect, and for that you learn to maintain your composure more effectively. And once again, going back to that self-love, that you're willing to actively participate in self-love. And part of it is to keep yourself in this +1 -1 frequency. And now that you know about this, is really important to ask yourself, so other than when you're asleep, then throughout the days, how many hours can you maintain yourself in this +1 -1 frequency? Or if someone says something to you or something happened, then all of a sudden you just lose, balance again, and you're angry at them. Or you're upset about the things that, things happen. You're upset about the things that that people, break the news to you or something like that. Because when nothing happened, it's okay to say that, I'm fine and I'm a very calm, loving person, and I treat everyone with love, etc. But then when something happened to you, that's when we really know. That's when it will certainly reflect, whether you're truly loving or not. And so I guess that's something to, that's a lesson that you really need to look at. And the thing is, when you see someone being mean, say something mean or do something mean to other people, really take that as a lesson and don't repeat it. Because you know that if you repeat it, meaning that you lose your +1 -1 frequency, meaning that you're not in a frequency to connect to this energy source, meaning that you will not get the 100% out of your practice. So going back to that self-love, if you want to help yourself, if you want to help other people, if you want to do things more effectively, then you need to start with that self-love first, and you need to start to strengthen your energy frequency. And of course, do not normalize being mean to other people. Do not try to justify for it. Sometimes people are like, well, I did this to this person because they deserve it, because they did something really mean to me. And so therefore, it's justifiable that I can say something extremely mean back. It's sort of like taking revenge, or it's just like, that person deserved that. Well, let's not focus on what that person deserved, but one thing that that, the one who, so basically it started off as that person being mean, and for that they do not connect properly because they're not in the frequency. But then you also participate in that by being angry, by being, very mean to this person. You're basically participate in something that you didn't like, that you just judge like a minute ago. You judge the person's behavior for being very negative, and then you participate in something very negative as well. Because doing those things is not positive, and you know that for the frequency that we're interested in, there's no connection there. There's no +1 -1 there. So remember to not normalize those behaviors and to try to really look at it from a different perspective, from an energy perspective. And this is the reason why that we're, I guess, make the same mistake over and over again, that we don't know where we get it wrong. And it is, and because we're, I guess, not really interested to look at it from an energy perspective. And so that's why we continue to fail a lot of the time, and we can't really pinpoint where is it that that I've done wrong. And so now where things could go wrong from an energy perspective, then I hope that you're more likely to practice self-love as well as your +1 -1 frequency. All right, so before we dive into the energy activation, and then we'll do the formulas, okay? And then let's see how we go for time. But before that, I would like to very quickly mention, this is a little comparison that we often use, just so it's easier for you to visualize and understand. So we often use this example to explain to participants about the importance of consistencies in their practice. So we know that the required period for the chicken eggs to hatch is 21 days. Now, same thing for when you practice this method, everyone. You need to get to a certain point to really feel the changes. And for many of you, that's when you activate it. So when you activate it, you feel this tinkling or like a mild headache. And that's the same thing as when the mother hen gives her 21 days for the eggs. And if she doesn't do that, then the eggs cannot hatch properly. And so this point to the consistency of your practice. And of course, as I've said, your practice should be on a daily basis. It's not that when you feel that you need it, that you practice it. It should be on a daily basis, because the cells in our body, they're a lot smarter than us, everyone. A lot of the time, we may not detect anything wrong or anything that we need to fix, but then the cells in our body, they're working tirelessly, and they're able to detect if there's anything going on that they're able to fix, and they will be able to help you with that. And when you practice, please do that according to the instructions that you have in the formula. You should practice, and this is usually what Mr. Lee would say, accurately, adequately, and consistently. Now, if the formula instructs you to open your eyes while you practice, please do that. As I've said, NLG is its own method. We do not mix it with other methods. So, there's no, oh, I find it a lot easier to focus when I close my eyes. Please don't do that. We instruct you to open your eyes, and that's for many good reasons, okay? So that is the first practice, really, for you when you come into this method, is that please follow the instructions and the formulas very precisely. Now, when the formulas tells you to practice for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, please do that, okay? Please do that. Now, the formulas that we share with you have been practiced by many NLG participants, and of course, it has been standardized by Mr. Lee's teaching. So please do not improvise. Do not change any of the wording. Do not change, any parts of the formulas, because it will not work, okay? Because it's already been standardized that way. So some of you might ask, well, I see that on the formulas, there's, the practice duration is often 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So why is it 5 minutes and 30 seconds? My answer to you at this foundation level is that that's the time that our energy founder, Mr. Lee, has studied and decided on. It's sort of like asking, why is this phone operate on iOS? Like, why is it an iPhone? Why is it like an Android or whatever? Because of, well, I guess that's how they are, right? That's how they're programmed. So that's my answer to you as of now, from this in this foundation level. Okay, so now I will show you the a demonstration video of how to receive your brain cell activation. Okay, so coming into level 1, there will be 2 activations. We will do one today and then another one tomorrow, and they're different energy activations, everyone. And it's very, very important, and I cannot stress it enough, that you need to receive both energy activations in order for you to proceed to level 2. And level 2 is next week. So make sure that you receive both energy activation, the one from today and the one from tomorrow, so that you can start practicing your level 1 formulas. And only then that you're able to practice your level 1 formulas, everyone. So the energy activation is very, very important. So as of how we will receive, or you will receive this activation, is you will, of course, open your eyes, you will look at my forehead, and then you will visualize energy going from my forehead into yours continuously. And it just in that, in that one direction. I will show you the demonstration video here so that you can visualize it better. And I will put my timers on. And so all the way all the way until I say that time's up, you will continuously receive this energy until I say time's up. Okay. Now let's have a look. So this is how you will receive energy from me, everyone. So you see, you will visualize energy from my forehead going into your brain. So one more time. Yep, so just go into your brain like so. And then you just keep it there. So basically you continuously receiving this energy into your forehead, into your brain. And then if you feel like the energy all of a sudden like going to different places to your body, that's fine. You don't need to direct them there, but if they get absorbed and then they just travel throughout your body, that's fine. Don't mind it. Okay, so it will go like that for the entire duration of the energy activation. Okay. All right, so I will put my timer to 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's how long this activation will go for. And remember that, and I hope that there's no technical issue, but remember that even when you can't see me for some reason, let's say you have a internet connection problem or some other reason and you can't see me, remember that I'm still transmitting energy here. And you know that I will be transmitting energy for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And so afterwards, if you get locked out or whatever, just estimate 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then later on you can log back in. The point is to be very calm, everyone. Don't stress out about it. Relax your mind, receiving this energy activation. And, this is how energy works. You don't even need to see me. But of course, as, beginners, it might be easier for you to just look at me and visualize energy going from my forehead and going into yours. Now, this is brain cell activation for level 1 participants. So those in higher class level, if you're in level 2, 3, 4, and 5, please look away. Do not receive this activation because this is for level 1 participants only. And of course, if you receive this, then you go back to level 1, that's all, which we don't want that, because of course you devoted a lot of time to participate in your current in the current class level that you're in. So make sure that you do the right thing, everyone. And for those of you who are new here, who are here for level 1, and if you have completed level 1 but you're here for revision and you're still in level 1, you have not participated in level 2, then you're welcome to receive this activation as well. Okay? All right. So this is brain cell activation. And then after this, I will show you the formula that you can practice for today before tomorrow's class. Okay, so this is brain cell activation. The timer, it's 1 minute and 30 seconds, everyone. Let's get started. Okay, and we have completed that. Now, if any of you, after you receive this activation and you feel like you have a mild headache, or you feel some sort of tingling sensation, if it's just tingling sensation, then it's just letting you know that there's something different there. If you don't feel anything, then, wait until you practice the formulas and see if you have any health improvements, because sometimes people's sensor got damaged along the way. And because of that, we don't really feel any warmth. We don't feel this tingling sensation. That's okay, because as long as we're in a space, like in a mindset that you're accepting of this activation and you want to receive it, and as in like genuinely want to receive it, then that's okay. That's fine. You've already got it. But if you come in here and you hesitate, you don't really know what it is, and you're uncertain, and you're sort of like 50-50% when it comes to receiving activation, then of course you won't get the most out of it. And that is how this force of attraction, it is how this energy works. Okay. Now, if you have a mild headache, that will go away after a few days, particularly after you completed this level and after you actively participate and practice the formulas. But there's also these breathing techniques, everyone, that if you have a headache, meaning that there's that excessive energy as well, that you can do. So basically you inhale, do like a short inhale through your nose for 3 seconds, and then you exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. So it's like short inhale and then long exhale. And you do that 3 times. And then you wait for 5 minutes or so. And if it still doesn't work, then do another session of that. So that's generally how you will get rid of the excessive energy if you're having a headache after receiving energy activation. Okay. Now, let's practice the brain cell activation together. Now, this is the only one formula, okay, that you will be practicing today. So before tomorrow's class, this only give you a taste of what it's like to practice the energy formula. And so we will only do this, we will only practice this one formula prior to day 2. And because it's such a great experience, and it would just be your loss if you don't practice it. Because for me, when I was a level 1 participant, it's all about getting that first experience of directing this energy, feeling this energy. And so for some of you, you might feel it very clearly. For others of you, you might not feel it initially, but practicing it, getting to know the formulas, understanding the structure of energy formulas, that's very, very important. And then tomorrow, day 2 of level 1, we will have our official level 1 formula set. And because of that, we will no longer practice these brain cell activation formula that I will give you today. And so for that, don't miss out on this opportunity to practice for yourself and really build up this good foundation of understanding and of practice for your energy formulas. Now, for this formula, you can practice it anywhere from 1 or 3 times on your own. So we will practice together in class. Right now, I will go through the formulas with you. I'll explain it to you. But then when you practice it by yourself, you can practice anywhere from 1 or 3 times on your own. You can practice it right away, consecutively, one after the other, or you can practice it a few hours apart. It's your choice. And of course, you need to sit somewhere that you feel calm, you feel focused. If you need to, you can look at something, like an object or like the wall or something. And if you feel like you're distracted for more than 30 seconds, then start again, okay? Don't sit right in front of a fan or an aircon, because you might not feel that warmth of energy, and it's also very distracting. When you have an AC right, blowing air right at you, and when you practice, and even when you receive energy activation, you can blink, okay? You can blink because you will be practicing the formula for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Of course you can blink. Don't just stare, because like some people only stare and then they would feel very dizzy afterwards, and then they'll come up to us asking, why is it I'm feeling dizzy? No, because that's because you just stare, you don't blink. And so for that, yes, you can blink while you practice. If you cough, if you sneeze, that's okay. Just continue on with the practice. Only when your mind wanders off. For example, you're started 5 minutes and 30 seconds, you press the timer, and then all of a sudden, while you practice, you think about shopping, or like you think about what you're having for dinner or something like that. And if it goes for more than 30 seconds, then just to discard that session and practice another one. Okay, so, and make sure that you sit in a comfortable position. And for some of you, if you're unwell, if you need to lie down, then you can certainly practice this formula while you're lying down, okay? Otherwise, just choose a comfortable position to sit in, very focused, look at an object if you need to maintain your focus, because you will keep your eyes open the entire time. You can hear, you can see everything happening around you, but the thing is that you need to focus. And that is a very good practice that Mr. Lay want to train everyone, because it's very much like things around us will happen nonstop. So the world around us happen nonstop, but we need to be in control of ourselves. So that's a very good techniques that is embedded in how we practice our formulas as well. Okay, so let's go through the formulas. I'll walk you through it so you know exactly what to do when you're by yourself. So we'll be practicing these formulas for today, everyone, and only for today. Tomorrow we will have different formulas, and so we will no longer practice this one, so make sure that you get the most out of this one today. So you can see here that with energy formulas, we divide them into different steps. It's easier for you to understand and follow. So first of all, before you practice any formulas, it's very important to read the notes. So the notes said here that when practicing, keep your eyes open and direct energy accordingly. Now, you will also see, and you will hear a lot about the term ERC. ERC stands for Energy Reception Center, which is right at the back of your neck. Okay, so it's around this area here. It's between your neck and your shoulder. That's that point where it meets. So we call that the ERC. So you see here that we so we have the practice duration here according to age. And of course, because this is a formula that you'll be practicing for yourself, you do not practice this on other people. You practice for yourself. So the practice duration, So the practice duration will be according to your age. And I'm assuming that if everyone here is above 18, then your practice time will be 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So what you would do that you will start your timer, and then that's when you'll go from step 1 and all the way to step 4. So step 1, and every step you will recite them silently in your head. You do not mumble. You do not say them out loud. You read them in your head. So in your head, after you press the timer, in your head you would say, so step 1, receive cosmic twilight new era energy level 1 frequency band, brain cell activation frequency. Okay, so that's what you would say in your head. And think about this step 1 like a command or like a request. So basically it states the frequency that we're interested in, that we're trying to direct energy for. And so in this case, it is the brain cell activation frequency. And so then after you're done with that, you will move straight into step 2. And in your head, once again, you would think, receive energy into the brain. And what that means is that you visualize energy from outer space entering the brain. Now, we don't need to make it complicated by asking, so what is the outer space looks like? What colors or what shape or whatever? You just think about it in your head. Okay, so you visualize energy from outer space entering the brain. And that applies to this step 2 here. Remember that these verbs, very, very important. Receive, okay? These verbs, very important. Please do not change it. Do not improvise. These formulas has been standardized, so there's no effect at all if you improvise and you change it into something that it is not. So then once you think, receive energy into the brain, and you visualize energy from outer space entering your brain, so it will go, right here to your brain, then in your head, once again, you will say in your head, receive first time. And then you wait for 3 to 5 seconds. And then you think again, receive second time. And then you wait for 3 to 5 seconds and receive third time. So the reason why we need to receive 3 times here, think about it as like confirmation for the cells in your body so that they're not confused. They know exactly what it is that you're doing. That is, you receive energy into the brain. Okay. And then after you finish with that, move straight into step 3. Send, okay? So really, sorry, what is the word? Oh, I just have brain freeze. Sorry. So step 2, really take note of this verb here. So we're no longer receiving because we've already received in step 2. So in step 3, oh, sorry, I keep pressing on the wrong. Oh, sorry, everyone. I keep pressing on the wrong button. Sorry about that. So in step 3, we'll be sending energy, everyone. So sending energy from the brain, so from the brain here, into the ERC, okay? And so the ERC is the back of your neck, right where your shoulder starts, right here. So you send energy from the brain into the ERC. So send first time, and then there's a delay of 3 to 5 seconds. You wait, send second time, and then you delay 3 to 5 seconds. Send third time. Okay, so between each time that you send and receive energy, you need to wait for 3 to 5 seconds. Just taking your time there, there's no rush. And then after that, you move on to step 4. Continuously direct energy into the brain and transmit it into the ERC. So that's what you would think in your head. And you will also think, let the warmth of energy spreads on its own until alarm rings. Now, the thing is, as you get to step 4, you only think these words once. Okay, it's very important to understand this. So this step 4, and because you'll be practicing for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So for the remaining time, and for the most part, you will devote for step 4. You spend a lot of time on step 4 because step 4 instructs you to continuously direct energy. So as you get to step 4, it's like an ongoing thing. You continuously direct energy into the brain and transmit it into the ERC. So it is something that you do, okay? It's not that you repeat step 4 over and over again. You do not repeat the wording of step 4. You only think about it in your head once. And then you keep doing what it instructs you to do. That is to direct energy. Okay? So I need to make this very clear. I have participants, misunderstanding, and this participant keeps repeating step 4 over and over and over again, all the way until the alarm rings. And she ended up with a headache, right? So make sure that you practice correctly, everyone. All right. So, okay, so now let's practice this formula together so you know how to do it by yourself. I will play a demonstration audio for you, everyone, so that you know of the pace that you should go with when you practice by yourself. So let's practice, and I will leave the formula on the screen so that you can look at it, and I will turn off my video temporarily so that it doesn't get in any of the detail. All right, so let's get started. Let's practice this formula together right now. This is practice session for brain cell activation frequency. Timer 5 minutes and 30 seconds for participant above 18 years old. Step 1. Recite silently once. Receive cosmic divide new era NOG level 1 frequency band. Brain cell activation frequency. Step 2. Receive energy into the brain. Receive first time. Receive second time. Receive third time.
Step 3. Send energy from the brain into the ERC. Send first time. Send second time. Send third time. Step 4. Continuously direct energy into the brain and transmit it into the ERC. Let the warmth of energy spread on its own until alarm rings.
Okay, everyone, thank you very much for participating in that formula. So what I'll do is I will post these formula on our Telegram group and I will show you right now. So this is our Telegram groups, and if you haven't installed Telegram on your device, then I highly recommend that you do so, because we will do basically we will post a lot of our announcements and updates, class events, etc. on Telegram, and in particular, we will only post our formulas on our Telegram groups. And so the first QR code here, that's just the general notification for all class levels. And then the QR code in the middle there, that's the chat group for level 1 and 2, meaning that when you join, you can ask question if you need to. And then the last one is the level 1 and 2 channel. And so we'll certainly post our formulas on there and we'll include some of the notes for you. And so before we're already 1 minute late. We're a little bit over time, but are there any question at all from me today? Or are we all happy? Because you can certainly ask your question in the chat group as well. If you want to do that, or have a look at the formulas, and then if there's anything that you don't understand or anything that you want to double check, then you can ask us in that group, in our Telegram group. And so maybe that's a better way of doing it. And so remember that we have another session of level 1 tomorrow, but it's very, very different. We will talk about some more content, and we will certainly work with another energy activation as well. Okay, so remember to practice the brain cell activation formula, because you only have today to practice it. From tomorrow on, we will no longer practice that formula. So this is a great opportunity for you to experience our energy formula and how to direct energy and get yourself familiarized with how this method operates. All right, so today we introduce you to NLG Energy, which is a practice-based method which helps you to, when you apply it, to flourish in many aspects of our lives. So to use this energy, of course, we need to have energy connection, which we know that we need to regulate ourselves to the mutual language of the cells in our body, which is through the +1 -1 frequency. And this frequency is embedded in our everyday life practice when we practice the 5 forms of love and moral values through the way that you treat other people, through the way that you treat yourself. And of course, remember that at level 1, we are working on self-love and love of family. And then as we move on to high class level, we will be working on other forms of love. So the rest of the 5 forms of love. But at this stage, I'm not saying that you're only stop at love for family, because some of you, when you come in, you might already exceeded that. But for the sake of class structure, now yes, we are working on self-love. We seek to understand self-love and love for family, and we really dig deeper into it into tomorrow's class. So build a strong foundation, strong understanding for these elements, and that will help you to move forward and enable greater miracles when you come into the practice of energy. So thank you everyone for participating, and remember that after this live stream end, we will open another link, and that will be for Mr. Lay's daily healing energy transmission. And the reason why I did not transmit healing energy is because I know that some of you might be looking forward to Mr. Lay's healing energy transmission. So I will send you the formulas via our Telegram groups, and you can always come back to this part of the live stream to scan the QR code if you haven't been able to do so. All right, so I will see you in tomorrow's class, everyone. Thank you for your participation. And on behalf of all participants here today, I'd like to say thank you to our energy founder, Mr. Lei. A huge thank you for everyone working behind the scene to make this program work. And I will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.